Alrighty, let's talk about winterizing your fifth wheel. You know, we all have to do it from time to time, and pretty much me and Robin do it a lot more than most people do. But let's talk about the weather. We're in Colorado. Last night got down to 31 degrees. Today is like 45. My nose is running. It's actually cold out here. But we're getting ready to leave for Florida tomorrow, and I'm not going to leave this thing with the heat on and have somebody come over here and switch out propane tanks and spend all that money. So I'm going to winterize it. And yes, people, I use the air compressor type deal. I blow all the lines out. In my opinion, it's the best way. Now, don't get me wrong, if you're, you know, just a summertime camper and you're just going to use your camper or your fifth wheel and then, you know, put it up for the year, and you're going to go spend 40 bucks on antifreeze and pump it through the lines and put it away and not do it, you know, that's probably a great way to go. But, you know, me, when I'm winterizing this thing a lot, you know, because sometimes we'll, you know, not be here for a couple weeks, and I'll, you know, don't know what the weather's going to be like, so I'll just go and blow everything out. Plus, hauling this big rig around across the country, you need to have an air compressor with you. If you know, these tires go low, you forget to check them, and you're driving down the road, something don't feel right, you pull over, it's hard to find air out there. And then when you do find some air, you put a quarter in it, the damn thing won't pump up a frickin' balloon. That's how bad it is. So you need something that'll put 125 pounds of pressure into one of these tires. So this thing will actually do that, and that's what it was purchased for originally, and I've used it. The reason, you know, I don't have any wood to knock on, but the reason I haven't had rim problems and tire problems like everybody else is I run 120 pounds of air pressure in those tires, and that's what I keep them at. They recommend at 125, but after pulling this thing 10,000 miles at 120, it felt like it rode nicer. The gauge looked better on the temperatures and everything, and I haven't had the problems that other people have. But I'm always checking it, you know, when we leave RV parks, and if it's a little low or not quite on the, you know, right on the mark, then you pull this out and use that. So I purchased it for that. And after you go and winterize this fifth wheel at least 5 or 6 times, you spend as much as in antifreeze that this air compressor costs. So you'll need an air compressor, you'll need an adapter like this so you can screw it right in and hook that up, you know, and you want to run this thing at like about 50 pounds of pressure and just keep going through your lines until you get all the water out. And I'll add that part of the video at the end of this, but right now I just wanted to talk about this stuff. And if you're thinking, well, you know, I don't think you've been doing this very long, William, why would we trust you? Well, believe it or not, folks, this fifth wheel, we've had it a year, the 27th of next month. So we've been doing this full time for quite a while. And when this thing was in Oklahoma, me and Robin would be there for a couple weeks at a time, and then we'd take off back to Colorado because we were still getting our life organized so that we could go do this type of life. And we would leave for a while, and with the weather changing so much, you know, my kids were there, they would go out and change the propane tanks over, and I did that the first couple times. But boy, that was getting expensive. I mean, we were filling these 2 tanks every 10 days, and that's with the temperature real low and nobody even there, nobody opening doors or going in or out. And every 10 days, I mean, that's 40 bucks a tank. These are 40 gallons. That's $80 every 10 days, you know, so you can see what it would cost just to let something set there, keeping it warm, because I didn't feel comfortable running the fireplace and the other heater that I have in the bedroom without somebody being there. So it was just running on propane. So like, that's not going to work. So I'm like, I'll just blow out the lines and do that. And Ron was like, isn't that going to be a pain in the butt? And I'm like, nah, I did it. You know, 20 years ago I was doing it all the time because I had a snowmobile business and I guided tours in Wyoming, and I bought a big fancy fifth wheel because it was cheaper than staying in cabins and renting hotels. So I would actually go up, and we, you know, 15, 20 degree weather, and yes, folks, you can survive in one of these in 15 or 20 degree weather. You just have to, you know, have everything set up inside, and you have to have electricity. And back then we ran a little Yamaha generator. It would go for 6.5 hours on a gallon of gas, and it would let me run those space heaters and stuff, and we survived up there snowmobiling all the time. But after I was done, I'd always blow out the lines. Before I even left up there, I would blow out all my lines and everything and kick the heat down and turn everything off, and I would leave I had heat pads on my gray water. I didn't use my black water up there because they had outhouses. We just used them. But I left my heat pads on my gray tank, And usually by that time my other tank was totally empty, so everything was just in the gray tank, and then I would just drive down to the first state gas station when we got out of the mountains, and we'd dump the tanks right away and gas up with diesel and head on back home and go park it at the house and sit there for a week or so and jump back in it and do it all over again. So in the winter months I probably blew it out with air 10-15 times a year and never had any issues. So when I got back into this lifestyle, I knew that that's the route I was going to go. I wasn't going to be pumping antifreeze, because of course when I picked this fifth wheel up, they were trying to sell me shit that I didn't need. Sorry about that car driving by, and wanted me to get some RV antifreeze and all that kind of stuff, and I'm like, no, I know what I'm doing. So we dealt with all that type of stuff, but in my opinion, this is the way to go, you know. And you just, after you do it a few times, it'll just come natural, and you'll probably go longer blowing it out and go over your tracks 3 or 4 times through the fifth wheel just to play it safe, and then you'll get better and know what you can get away with. But like this one here, I hooked this all up. I keep this at 50, keep it plugged in, and turn my valve for the winterization one, and I go through there and I blow all the lines out. And I've got a hot water heater. If you're a Riverstone person, you know that you've got the hot water on demand, so you just pull out that valve, pop it all out, everything drains right out of that, and you turn it off and your hot water heater's done, and then you just blow out all the lines. Now I'll actually kick on my washer machine on one of the cycles and let it push the water out of everything there. I'll do that too. So I would do that on the dishwasher, but we've never used the dishwasher. Me and Robin have a thing where she makes dinner and I clean up. So I've been doing that for 6.5 years. So it's just kind of, you know, in my head, that's the way we do it now. And in my opinion, I don't trust a dishwasher most of the time. Half the time you wash the stuff 3/4 of the way and then you stick it in there, and what's the use? I might as well just wash it, dry it, and do it right myself the first time. So I kind of avoid that. But I've done that at least 10-15 times on this fifth wheel last year, going back and forth from Colorado to Oklahoma, and you know, it worked perfect. You know, I didn't have any issues at all. So I definitely feel confident that's the way to go, and I think it's the cheaper way to go. And you know, that last minute thing, you know, you don't have to worry about, oh shit, you know, I got 1 gallon of antifreeze and I need 3 or 4. And in this lifestyle, you never know where you're going to be, and you know, you feel safer that you don't have to do that. And doing this, I can, you know, run this thing. If we're going to run down the road a long way and everything, I don't have to worry about, you know, anything freezing up or having any problems, because I blew it all out. And when I get to the next place, I just go and hook up the water and everything, and you know, kick out the slides and turn on the heat, and you know, within 30 minutes we're rocking and rolling again, and didn't worry about nothing. So if you're new to this and you're, you know, and thinking about what you should do, I think this is what you should do. I think you should get one of these on Amazon for 175 bucks, and that little adapter for another $20, and you're ready to go. And even if you're only going to use it, you know, once a year and put it up for storage and not be a full-time RV person, then you still have the air compressor to do a lot of other things, you know. So but I'm going to go and get all this hooked up, and then I'm going to grab my other camera and walk through all this stuff and show you how I do it. Alrighty, let's get around here and let's start getting this thing blown out and get it ready to go. Got the water all disconnected. I did have some fresh water in the freshwater tank, so I drained all that. Got all the water unhooked. Everything over here. Got the hot water heater off and drained. Got that all done. Come on over here. I got it all hooked up right there. Usually I'll turn this one on first of all and pump it out here too. Gets it out some there. Alrighty, let's start with the bathroom. And you can see how much water it'll push out.
And I'll pretty much just keep doing that. I'll go around it 4, 5, 6 times until I get everything out. The shower always takes the longest. But that's all it takes. I mean, you just go through here and you just walk around the whole thing 4 or 5 times. And you see. And in my opinion, it's the easiest way to do this. I'll go back over to the sink. Let's walk into the kitchen. Oh. Good morning, Robin. You ready for this 24-hour road trip? No. Our handle just fell off. You tighten that up. It just has a little screw on the bottom of it, so no big deal. See? RV life, folks. There's always something. Right, Robin? Yeah, I think I had the water pressure a little high on that one, but it's set for 50, so you might want to trim it down a little bit. But this toilet always does that for some reason. The other ones, nothing else does that. Or sometimes just turn on one of the sinks at the same time if you're worried about it. So there's be more for us to wipe up. And I've done it this way every time, and I've never had any cracked pipes, any leaks, any trouble of any kind. So folks, if you just go through and do it the same way, and just make sure you get all that water out, and don't go and leave that air compressor going without one of these things on, you know. Don't leave all that pressure on there for a long period of time. Go ahead and turn the valve off out there until you get back. But I'll actually run this washer machine once too. Just a spin and a drain. You know, I would assume that these washing machines get all the water out of there, but my luck there'd be just a little bit down in the bottom of that thing and crack a line behind there, and that would be a nightmare to get to. So that's why I always run the washing machine ones too. But that's pretty much all there is to it. Just go through it 4 or 5 times until you get it. So remember, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you like what we're doing on the channel, subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.